Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our monthly podcast call. My name is Michelle. I'm the partnerships manager here in the Genius Group. And I'm super excited because we're actually talking about something today that is massive, massive, massive. And if you're not on top of this trend, you really should be on top of this trend. Today, we're talking about AI influencer campaigns, the future of marketing, how to revamp marketing with AI. And, this is something I'm actually like, I get excited and all bubbles and all kind of stuff. So without further ado, we have two amazing speakers today. As usual, we have our amazing CEO and founder. We have Roger James Hamilton, who you all know is a renowned futurist and entrepreneur. He mentors entrepreneurs globally all the time, and they really, really succeed and have done amazing things. He's the founder of Genius Group, which is the world's #1 entrepreneur education group, with over 4 million students and over 12,000 mentors in many different cities. He's also the founder of Entrepreneur Resorts, and we've obviously got the tech company, Genius U. So this is where we're at, and it's super exciting to have him. And secondly, I have a person who's just joined our team, who I actually managed to spend the whole weekend with, working, of course, is Dr. Ravi Singh. He's a renowned American Sikh, and he's celebrated as an internet pioneer and a visionary in data science and social media. And he's actually known as the campaign guru, and he advised over, I think, 9 heads of state and has impacted more than 21 countries with digital strategies. So these two amazing gentlemen are here today, and I would love to bring them on. So hey, Roger. Hey, Dr. Ravi.
Hello, I am here. Can you see me okay?
I can see you. I think we just need to ping you. There you go. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good to be here. Ravi, how are you doing? Ravi, how are you doing?
Good. Hey, Roger. Nice to see you again. And I'm excited to come and actually physically see you in Bali soon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you want to tell everyone where in the world you are right now?
Sure. You're just breaking up. Could you repeat the question, Roger?
You want to tell everyone where you are right now in the world?
Sure. Believe it or not, I am in Taipei, Taiwan, at the largest AI blockchain summit in all of Asia. It's all. In fact, I don't know. Maybe your audience has heard of something like Ethereum. You know, the founder of Ethereum is here, and all these great speakers out here. But this is one of the premier events on AI that's taking place. So a lot of great intellectual thought leaders are here, and so I'm excited to be a keynote speaker and also talking about Genius Group on Thursday. So if you're in Taipei, Taiwan, let me know, and you come on and check me out and hear me speak.
Very cool. That's awesome. Let's get into that a little bit in terms of what you're going to be talking about and what you're going to be sharing. But obviously, you've joined us recently, like to head up all of our marketing, and it's been super exciting as we're going through this whole process of launching Genius Cities and our AI avatars at the next level. And you were just speaking at our AI influencer micro school that we just had as well. So let's just wind back a little bit so that everyone who hasn't had a chance to get to know you yet gets a bit about your history. Could you share, first of all, the fact that there is a really nice fit between what you became very well known for, which is basically getting heads of state into power, right? Actually winning campaigns, political campaigns, using social media, right? So that's the ultimate influencer, is someone becoming a president. How you got into that and the kind of different heads of state you've worked with, countries you've worked with, and the kind of results that you've seen as a result of some of the principles we're going to be talking about.
Sure, absolutely, Roger. First of all, thank you. I'm excited to join your team, and it's been an honor. I think you're one of the legends in the space. I'm excited to learn also from you. I think one of the exciting things about what you have done, and where my background comes in, is that we get to take both our worlds and get to combine them. And I started off in politics because I loved politics as a kid. Mom and dad had sort of fought for my turban to enter the U.S. military. And as a result, at the age of 14, I was talking to congressmen and senators lobbying for my own piece of legislation. And I'm dating myself, but that was during the days of Ronald Reagan. From that experience, I followed up with a master's degree in political science and fell in love with the art of political campaigning. I myself was a candidate, believe it or not, at the age of 24 for public office. And I had one of the very first websites in 1997. It was then that I realized that every candidate needed a website. And in 1998, I believed that every single candidate would raise money, get votes, and generate awareness. These three principles. So I set out on learning technology to actually go ahead and build out a platform that eventually got co-branded with Microsoft. And we ended up providing that technology to over thousands of campaigns. And we ended up servicing several heads of state, working for major political parties, and becoming the nonpartisan technology platform for both Republicans, Democrats, Green, Libertarian, left or right, whatever it was. And so my travels led me across the globe. I worked on campaigns from school board moms to president, up to world leaders, handling their social media accounts and turning them into influencers, right? Literally, to help them sway voters so that they could actually win an election in a very short period of time.
And tell everyone, what was your actual paper on, right? Like, especially it's very topical at the moment with what Donald Trump is currently doing, and the whole election coming up. So everyone kind of gets a sense of that. And maybe after you shared what that was, you can kind of share a few insights that came out of that.
Sure. No, I think one of the most exciting parts was, my personal leanings are a little bit towards the Republican side. And people ask me all the time why. I said, elephants come from India. No one knows where a jackass comes from. But joking set aside, I did have the opportunity to actually work for the Trump campaign in 2011, do his website, help him with their online fundraising efforts. Those efforts really catapulted my desire to actually understand what he did when he actually started tweeting. And when he tweeted, I actually turned those tweets into my PhD dissertation. And I was awarded that PhD in under 3 years. In record time. And what I did was I analyzed the artificial intelligence of actually what we call the linguistic aspect of the psychology. So we took the combination of his words that he used, 35,647 tweets to be specific, and took that data sample and we benchmarked it against dependent variables like likes, shares, and comments. And we used a machine learning to figure out if there was a correlation. And we did find a correlation, and we found some very interesting results.
Super interesting. Can you share some of those results just so we can kind of get an idea?
Sure. Absolutely. In fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to promote a little bit. I actually put out my first research after 8 years out on a book on Amazon. And I've actually put the lit reviews that I've done, but some of those findings are actually in that book. But to summarize, there were 3 main findings that we found out. One is that there is a relationship between the leadership's voice and the platforms that you use. So one of the things is that when you're talking on different platforms, the fact that he used different voices on the platforms was key, but he didn't change his branding. So his persona stayed the same. His profile picture was consistent among all of the platforms. The second thing was the tone of voice, right? I can say, Roger, I like you. And I could say, I like you, right? So there's 2 different interpretations of I like you, right? But the words show up the same. So is there a combination of the emojis, the hashtags, the mentions, the URLs, all these variables as they relate to changing the meaning of I like you? And the answer was yes. And it turned out to be a 95% statistical accuracy, which in SPSS and in the stats world is like gold in research. And so I was able to create a new theory around that, and that bridged around social media voice theory. And that really led to the third finding, which is that our voice actually can shift engagement. And if we are actually being authentic, if we're identifying with that audience and we're doing that consistently, we can actually increase our social media engagement. But the problem with that engagement increase with the voice is that it's not about just volume, right? The number of tweets we do, et cetera. It's also about what we call engagement saturation. Sometimes we create too much noise on social media. We just keep on posting, and we don't let it sit there. And sometimes you have to let it sit there, cook a little bit till it gets enough of the numbers and then go to the next one. And so we sort of almost kill our own voice, because we don't let it go out there in the ecosystem. And every single platform has their own ecosystem of distribution. Twitter is a different beast. LinkedIn is a different beast. Facebook is a different beast. Snapchat, absolutely. TikTok, its own. So all of these platforms are almost like amplifiers. So those were the three takeaways that I was able to share.
Super interesting. Look, on this call, we're going to be getting into how already the whole landscape of AI is transforming marketing and what's going to happen. Like, not just, how do you use, some of the latest avatars or latest GPTs to have engagement, but more importantly, where are things going? Like, where are things going to be like 6 months from now, 12 months from now? And the goal for everyone listening in is that you get a very clear picture of not just how quickly things are changing, but how to keep up with the change and what to learn, what not to learn, right? Like what to get focused at and what to avoid so you don't get overwhelmed, right? So we're going to cover all of that. But before we jump into all of that, like Ravi, what you're talking about, at the moment, which is largely, the aspects of social media which are around the word influence, more importantly than just, influence, is very focusing at this idea of convincing someone of a particular action, right? In this case, like go and vote, for example, right? And how do you actually, what are the mechanics that actually allow you to do that? Before you answer that, let me also just share something that I know many of I do regularly on every one of these calls, which is just give you a snapshot of just how quickly things are changing around the world. Many of you who are trading in stock markets will know that yesterday was the worst day in, I think, 50, 60 years in both South Korea, in Japan, for their stock markets. And that was alone enough to convince many, many people to sell off the bell in America. And then the markets recovered pretty dramatically. So if you were buying at that point, you did very well yesterday. And this has everything to do with basically who you're going to convince by who you're not. Even the story of Warren Buffett selling half his Apple shares was enough to actually make Apple, lose billions in market value within one day as well. And all of this is about we are all basically animals of instinct, or more importantly, animals of influence. And the more that basically we hear things that convince us of a certain way to do things, we'll go do those things. AGI and the whole idea of AI becoming even more influential than humans is just around the corner. It's already happening to some extent. Many of you will know that character AI, which is basically just a whole bunch of avatars on an app, is now generating enough content and engagement that is going to be overtaking OpenAI soon, which means people are much more interested in speaking personally to an avatar that actually gets to know them, especially if it has a character. Like, you can go in there and speak to an Elon Musk AI versus just speaking to basically a GPT that's been designed to actually have no bias, that's designed to give you politically correct answers. When you want something that's got a character, and you want something that understands who you are and what you're doing. This here, which is basically AGI timeline, is saying we're on track, right? We're on track for us to actually have super intelligence. Many of you know Mo Godat, who's one of the top commentators. Here he is talking about how the smartest person in the room is no longer going to be a person. And when that happens, it's the end of human creativity, or at least that's what he believes, right? And so you've got these very, very fast, rapid shifts that are taking place. I would love for you to just kind of like give your sense, Ravi, as to, given that you are on the kind of forefront of seeing just how much, influence can actually change an entire nation, how you see influencer marketing as a whole. Because a lot of people say, I'm not an influencer, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not trying to, get fame on TikTok. But that's not what influence marketing is all about. So just share with everyone what your definition of that is. And then with the advent of AGI and what's coming with superhuman intelligence, what your view is as to what we can be expecting down the road when it comes to AI and influence.
It's great questions, Roger. And you're exactly right. We're at a very interesting time in human history. And that's one of the reasons why I love what you're doing with Genius Group. But let me just share with everyone, there is a something that happened after COVID-19. The world almost got reset, and our behaviors got reset, and one of those behaviors was how we work, how we're educated, how we interact with actually computer devices. There's actually a theory called social presence theory that's in the scientific world about how we engage with computer devices to actually engage with society, right? And we look for signals and how we actually, interact on a daily basis. And one of the signals that had actually changed was how we actually go to work physically. And then we started interacting with our employees around these computer devices much more via Zoom or, Skype or GoToMeetings, etc. And this rapid change of behavior also affected the way we lead, right? And how we manage and how we interact. And so what happened was some companies were able to adjust quickly, while others just basically kept up the norm, or some just basically just put a Band-Aid on it. And then some just said, okay, you know what, we're just going to shut down physical offices and we're going to go completely virtual. In every single scenario, AI has now sort of, turned all of us into influencers. And why I say that is because everyone actually with a computer and a social media account has a voice. And we have wrongly measured our voice by the number of followers we have. It is not that what the followers that we have, the following, it's actually what we're saying and how we're saying it. And so our words and our phrases and the way we say something has value. And Mahatma Gandhi said it very best, that you don't have to have a huge army of people. You just have to say the right things in order to create the right impact. And that's exactly what, social media allows us to do. We are able now to have this awesome platform where we can touch the lives of millions of people. They don't have to be necessarily following me. And I can immediately take that content and have something so powerful that I can influence the world. And to me, that's amazing. That's what gets me excited about social media, because it is the true essence of e-democracy. It is the freedom for us to say what we want to say and have the power to back it up. So if we can resonate with someone or a cause or with a revolution or with a government or with a policy or with a principle or with a product, right? We can have a tremendous impact. So I tell people it's the quality of content, not just the quantity of content. And so what AI does is it helps us really specify and narrow down that. And there, I'm going to get a little geeky on you. It's because of the machine learning that is behind it. And machine learning involves algorithms that allow these computers to learn and take the data and improve upon what we say. And so what happens is that we can take all that content, and the brain can't process everything that we've ever said. And it can take all that data and stream it and give us a very, very powerful statement. And so now all of a sudden we're using the machine to do what we would normally try to do as human beings, which is humanly almost impossible, and process a huge amount of data. So AI is becoming everywhere, right? It is going to be in our smartphones, it's in our cars, it's going to basically change our lives, it's going to enhance us to a way we're going to become much more efficient as human beings. And so one, I think everyone is an influencer. It's not about how many followers you have. If you have social media, you can influence, right? And number two is that AI has become the catalyst. AI, by definition, is artificial intelligence. It's intelligence that is artificial, but it's what we call in the tech world a general purpose technology. It's not the AI that makes everything sexy. It's the AI in how it's utilized, right? It's building on existing knowledge that we put into the system, cranks out and spits out all of that in a very effective way using machine learning. But if we're not contributing new knowledge, the AI itself is not thinking. It's building on existing knowledge. So as human beings, we cannot, there's that worry that automatically, like you said, that automatically AI as a whole will then start predicting and start doing. Yes, we can get there, but right now it still takes data input from human beings. So we as humans, must participate and engage with AI in order for AI to evolve to the stage that, as you gave the example, as our friend on Twitter is saying, but that will take time. And to me, that's not going to happen overnight, but the world getting smarter and the world is getting more intelligent and the world is starting to use this, and those that use it will actually benefit from AI.
Right. So what I'm going to do here is break down the use of AI, and I'm going to give some examples here as well for everybody into three different elements. And I think everyone, as you're listening, you can be kind of taking your own scoreboard as to how much you're using it in each of these three different ways. So the first one is how you're using AI to enhance your own productivity or experience. So for example, many people are using AI to create their content, to do their designs, to put their videos together. So this is all generative AI, which is around one specific thing, which is how you actually not necessarily generating more money, but how do you save money? Like, how do you make something happen in a short period of time instead of a long period of time? And a lot of people are doing that, and that's great. But if you haven't actually changed the front end, you might not be seeing a massive difference in your business on the fact you get things done faster. The second part, which is the part that more and more people are now getting involved in, is how you're using AI to enhance not your experience, but actually the customer's experience, right? And so one example of that was when I was working with the team and we were going through an AI avatar that we're creating at the moment that will enable you within 5 years to see how you can 100x a part of your business using AI. And a lot of people think, oh, 10x is a lot, right? Like, what is 100x? Well, look, 1 horsepower, 100 horsepower is a tractor. It's like, like 1,000 horsepower is like a sports car. So 1,000x, right, is what we're used to doing when we're driving. But even the idea of 100x is like in a business, like, is that even possible? And we had one example there, which was the example that Michelle and Suraj have been working on, which is some of you may even be on here because you were speaking to one of our AI sales avatars, right? And they call you up, right? They're having a conversation with you. It's not like a robocall where it's just recorded. It's actually, hey, I'm here to like ask you to come join the program or be part of something. Are you interested in finding out in an X amount of time if you can do X, Y, Z? And off the back of that, the conversations that take place, because it is an interactive conversation, it not only creates much higher engagement, but the speed and the volume of what you can do is 100x. So we actually said, well, okay, what can you do differently? How much does a human deliver in terms of calls per day? Well, if they're doing a good job, maybe they can have 50 meaningful calls. Well, the AI we have can do over 500, and that can actually multiply up to 5,000 per day, which means you're actually getting 10 to 100 times the result of one human per day. And more importantly, when they're having that conversation, they're getting far more engaged to the extent that those humans then decide to do more with that as well. And the cost savings is more than 100-fold, right? So suddenly it's like, well, like, why would you do it any other way when we actually prefer this as well? And this second piece here, I really want to dive into, because this is, I think, what we're going to see a lot of with the political activity going on in America right now, with all the elections coming up. Whoever wins is probably the one who is best at embracing AI on this second one, which isn't creating their campaign for them, but actually getting out there and being the front face. And this is where we're shifting from the old information content model, which was all around content first and then community. Like, get good enough content, you get people's attention, bring them in your community so they get connection. Then you build enough trust that you can get to commerce, right? So content, community, commerce. That's all gone on its head now, where if you're spending all your time creating content, you're missing the fact people don't want to watch a 30-minute video, or they don't want to just read a website. They want to have a conversation with someone, and they're more than happy to have a conversation with an AI. So it's no longer content and then community. It's now conversation and then community, right? Where that content becomes an engagement from the very first moment. And that's one of the big pieces that we're actually developing out. There's a third part, which we can get onto later, which is how you use AI to enhance your partner's experience, because the companies that are doing that best, and that's a big part of what we're doing with our partner portal and so on, is that they're the ones that actually then have everyone come and use your platform, because why go create the whole thing if they can all come together and use the same tools and share the same intelligence between them, versus basically trying to figure it out themselves, right? And that's by far going to be the next trillion-dollar businesses that come our way, are going to be the ones that have these massive partner-based communities that are all leveraging the very best of AI and keeping everyone at superhuman level, where they're all learning collectively together as well. But just out of those 3 different aspects, and as I go through that, we are giving everyone also a link to this, which is the slides, right? So as we're going through this, you'll see that there is a bit of a info on Dr. Ravi. We're going into detail. We're not going to jump right into, but you can have it all there in terms of the basics of influencer marketing, the stats behind it. That's all in here as well, right? But we're going to keep it at the conversational level in terms of what we're going to be covering. And then I'm going to give you a whole series of different tools that we're going to be discussing as we go through this as well. This aspect, though, about how we are seeing a very rapid shift from generative AI, where people were just using it to create websites and videos and so on, to how they're now actually building out their own engagement, not just relying on TikToks or relying on Amazons or Facebooks, etc. Can you speak to that one in terms of what you're excited about that's coming our way, and the kind of things that we're doing with the Genius Awards and the AI challenges, which brings all of these tools together?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. But one of the things that you highlighted here, and I think our audience should understand, is that you're talking about basically automation, right? When we have all this data and we're processing, we're able to automate. That automate gets that scalability that you're talking about. So it's not unrealistic to get us to 100 times, and but you have to be careful. You have to automate the right things. You can also automate your failures too. You don't want to put garbage in because you're going to get garbage out. But I think what we've done at Genius Group here and et cetera is that we've created a platform for the courses, right? The certifications. That's why the AI certification is doing so well right now, because people want to learn. They want to understand the stuff. They want to understand how it fits. It's not about the knowledge. It's not about the tech. It's not about knowing how to push the buttons. It's about how does it help me propel my business? How do I go to the next level? How can I gain a competitive advantage? And I think what we've done with Genius Group here is we've also given that coaching, right? We're not abandoning people. We're not just giving them the certifications, but we're helping them through this journey. So what happens is they don't have to figure this out. We can show them, hey, listen, we've been able to figure this out. We can give you the formula, right? And that's where we can also reward them and acknowledge them. And that's why I think the awards is so important, because just like the others in the space, we are positioning ourselves on this intellectual evolution that is taking place, right? And as AI revolution is happening, right, the world is getting smarter, and we want, not everyone can take advantage of this. So we are inviting those people. And even like, I think our certificate course right now is doing extremely well, and people are buying this because they realize very clearly that, wait, hold on, I want that competitive edge, and that little price that I have to pay for that knowledge is going to exponentially increase my capacity, right? It's going to be able to grow my, like you said, 10 times, 100 times, and even one sale, two sales, three sales will pay for itself. And so as we're going through these changes, we are facing a paradigm shift in education. And I think what excites me about Genius Group is that you have positioned the company while everyone is trying to figure this out. You were one of the first leaders and you saw the vision. And that's why I'm so happy to be part of this team, because all we have to do now is just keep on getting your message out to people. This podcast is a great way, and we'll continue to distribute it. But there's only a handful of people. There's billions of people, and we can only affect so many. So those that jump in will benefit from this, right? And they will be able to do it. So it's almost like giving the secret sauce away, but in a way that they don't have to figure out how to cook it, right? We can actually show them the best path forward, and combining your previous entrepreneur skills, the assessment test, the things that we know, these are fundamentals that many business just don't know how to apply. And so we're killing two birds with one stone. We're helping them with the stuff that was taking place, and then we're combining with the AI. We're mixing it up with the influencers, and that's what excites me, because I think after COVID, as I mentioned, influencer marketing was the only thing that went up in advertising. And if you're not doing influencer marketing, you're not doing marketing. I mean, you're just not selling today. And in these social media platforms, Gen Z will tend to listen to an influencer over an ad any day of the week. So we need to know how to capitalize on this if we are going to sell a product, a service, or anything in this environment. It's going to have to be part of the formula. And I think we can utilize our methodology as a catalyst. I'm not saying we figured it all out, but we definitely will be able to trigger that critical thinking that is crucial. And I think that's where you hit the bullet, the target. Roger, you're activating the brain. So the guy's going, wait, hold on, I can do this. Maybe I can do this. Okay, they do it like this. It's not just a bunch of case studies or saying, we're saying, hey, this is something that can actually be fundamental on how you do this journey. And I think that's the exciting part. And everything that we're doing around Genius is to bring the genius within you alive, to get it out, whether it be a genius not only of your personal growth as an individual, but also to help you with your financial, economic, social, et cetera, development.
Very cool. Let's take that whole thought, and I'm going to come back to the piece around our message and especially is what we're calling Genius 5.0 right now. What we're launching with the AI challenges, what we're launching AI certification. because many of the people in our community, they're already in these different programs, and for others, they might be hearing this for the first time. I want to kind of break this down to three pieces, right? And the analogy that we speak about quite a bit, and resonates with a lot of business owners, is that same time when we went from 1 horsepower to 100 or 1,000 horsepower by just going from horses to cars, and understanding that, hey, if you're going to go in a car, you actually need to have a whole set of new tools, right? And frankly, not just tools in the car, like an engine or like wheels. You actually also need tools in the infrastructure, like traffic lights and like gas stations and all this kind of stuff as well. So the whole, and of course, you can't just say, I'm going to get in a car and I'm going to be fine. Like I jumped on a horse, I could ride it. It's like, no, you actually got to take driving lessons and etc. So all of this, right? If you take that same analogy, but we're not talking about horsepower, we're talking about human power now, and how to go from 1 to 100 human power. I want to break into three pieces. Let's focus first of all on tools. Like, so what are the different tools that are available? So people go, if I want a 100x, these are different tools I may not be available, available that I can be using. Number two, how do we make sure we avoid using tools to put wheels on our horse, right? Or put an engine in our horse, because that ain't going to be making you a car. So how do you actually redesign your own thinking in terms of your business, your work, to actually be able to 100x without exploding? And then the third aspect is, given that everyone's doing this, it's a gold rush, right? And everyone's basically going for this whole new world. How do you make sure that you're the ones selling the pickaxes and jeans rather than the ones that are basically getting onto the next best thing only for it to go out of date? And I would break that up into two pieces. I talk about the difference of sustainable knowledge and more importantly, disposable knowledge. Like I said 5 years ago, listen, everyone's teaching Facebook marketing. Believe me, in 5 years' time, no one's going to be talking about Facebook marketing. Look at where we are 5 years later, no one's talking about it. So this is really important. Don't go learning stuff about AI that in not just 5 years, but 1 year, it's going to be irrelevant. Why go learn that stuff? Don't go learning about prompting, right? Like that's a ridiculous thing to do because the AI is going to be prompting itself. So you don't need to be learning those things, right? So really super important. In terms of that third part, what do you do that's sustainable? Which means, as you know, this is Amazon, right? Like what Jeff Bezos was saying. He says everyone's always trying to like figure out what's changing. We like to think about what's staying the same, right? And for sure, as AI keeps on growing, what you're doing to stay the same in terms of answering the question, how can I keep up with the pace of change? How do I always be at the front end in terms of my customer? How do I make sure that I'm having maximum influences using the AI that's out there? That they become far more valuable and questions to be asking. So three different pieces. Let me share my screen on the first one, which is the tools. You've already shared, we have this on our different slides, that when it comes down to different tools available, you can break them into even identifying, who are the right, influencers in your marketplace. How do you create content? How do you optimize content? We talked about that. How do you manage and monitor campaigns, in real time, and even have the AI, move from being avatars to being agents who are developing it? How do you analyze and target and retarget audience? Not just leave it to Facebook's algorithms or Google to figure this out for you, but you design it in a way which works far better for you. And then all these different things we talk about: efficiency, cost reduction. Many of you that are following in our micro schools and on this membership, right? That some of you are watching this for free on YouTube, for example, but most are getting it as a result of their membership. And then we give the additional tools. We can see that the mass amount of tools, not just one, but multiple different ones that are actually available out there, which is a huge number of different ones that are out there at the moment. We synthesize all the best ones. We bring them out and basically have the case studies of what actually works best, and they break into all different tools as well. And we're working in partnership with a number of different companies. So, like recently, Ravi's been working, with the Groove team, connecting up on the marketing side, and Groove has launched Groove AI. So we're in partnership with Groove AI for our partner portal, and pretty much every single piece of what you want to be building, you can be using AI to build that in a very simple, easy way on your marketing. So there are those tools obviously available for full suites of products, and these are all less than 12 months old, right? They've grown very, very quickly. There are favorite tools that many of you use. I mean, we've used Hotjar for many, many years, but they've now launched Hotjar AI, which does your research for you, allows you to actually, AI will figure out what surveys to ask, right? Like we spend a lot of time, getting the IP together for things like our talent dynamics, our passion test, purpose test. AI actually does a better job than everything I put together all those years ago. So we're actually replacing all this with AI that can have a better conversation with you, so it knows actually which area you're going to be most focused at. We're partnering with Daily AI, which basically is also partnering with people like Peter Diamandis, Joe Polish, at actually having a fully personalized not just email every day coming to you, but actually provides you with all of the information you're really looking for to get your open rates back up to the 30, 40, 50% that we used to see. In fact, this goes all the way up to 60%. It's just been transformational using these different tools that are out there. And there's a whole bunch of others. I'm not going to go through all of them that we use. One thing I will say is that we are about to launch our big Genius City site, right? Which we're very excited by because it's actually breaking up into all of our different Genius cities. And we've built all of this off Elementor, which is WordPress based, which you think, well, isn't WordPress something that's like from, early web times? Well, WordPress actually is now over 80% of all of the tailor-made sites, and AI is actually the place where companies like Elementor are like allowing us to actually build this out very easily. And then we plug in our AI avatars, as many of you have seen in our student AI, et cetera, as well. All of these different tools, I'd love for you, Ravi, to just share your viewpoint as to how quickly these tools will either change or become redundant, and what is the best advice that you can give to all the entrepreneurs on here as to how they should be approaching the tools. Like, is it about the data? Is it about the tools? Is it about the community that's going to be sustainable versus is they're going to find it's already out of date within 6 months from now?
Right. Roger, you bring up a lot of things, and there's going to be a lot of players. And I can't overemphasize to this audience, look, you can sort of catch up to what everyone else is doing, or, what you figured out was how to put all the tools together so that they don't have to figure it out. Right. And as the best tools are coming out there, I'm going to give the analogy of kayak. When I was at MIT, kayak became the portal basically for us to aggregate all these different airlines into one system. And so that you could automatically purchase a ticket at the same time faster than Travelocity and Orbitz. And they focused on speed, but what they did was they took all the tools and they put it in there. I see, Roger, I think the biggest challenge here is putting these tools into a bucket or a platform where everything is integrated, right? And able to work the way you want it to. Now, I can spend the time, the money, and the people, resources, these three things, very costly to every business and every organization, every university, every government, and trying to do this and go and pick and choose, or we can just automatically do that and automatically provide that marketplace that Genius is doing and saying, hey, these are the best, and this is based upon our team's analysis, research, and et cetera. And one of the things that I think what's exciting about Genius 5.0 is our rebranding. So all our partners and all our affiliates out there, big shout out. I mean, look, the vision of what we're doing, and you've seen the benefits of just our assessment test. You guys are going to be blown away with the tools that will be able now for you to accelerate and also be able to profit from our endeavors as well. And I like that approach. I like the fact that we can share what we're doing. We're sort of eating our own dog food, right? We're not just preaching, but we're also using our own tools to help spread the gospel of AI and be able to capture that. So I think there is a double, if not triple whammy here for everyone. And I think if we can understand a fundamental is that there will be more tools that will come up. There'll be more people trying to do the same things. You can go and try to do all of things, but time is a very costly endeavor. And what we've done is we said, how will this relate to your business? How will this help your business? And how can you use this general purpose technology to accelerate your growth? And I think those go back to the fundamentals of what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast. And I think if we do that, we'll save on human resources, we'll save on operations and maintenance, we'll save on financing aspects of what AI can do. The list goes on and on. So I think our tools, our services, what we're trying to do here is trying to simplify, keep it simple and stupid, use these AI tools, whether it be, using, the fundamentals of WordPress again, and incorporating that. But if there's a better thing that comes out, they don't have to figure it out. We can actually just put it in our platform. And so you're just getting the very best of all of these tools. I mean, you can sit there all day long on chat, but there's a lot of other alternatives to chat, GP3 or GP4 now. And every single one is going to keep on getting better. And you can try to do these integrations and you can spend a tech fortune, or we can automatically give you some of our tools. You can not only help your own businesses, but you can also profit from those, but you can also sell them, you can also leverage them as you're doing your business. So I think it's a game changer, kind of deal. It's a step-by-step process. Our team can help you if you don't know where you're at. People that we have, understand how to do this correctly. So that's the exciting part. And I think, one other last comment I'll make is the Genius City concept. I mean, the fact that we can help the entire, city, we can help an entire nation get the benefits of all this technology. It's really about the distribution and making it being able to be applicable to achieving the goals of any society, any government, any politics, any business. And that's really what you've done here. You've created not a car that's getting us to destinations. In essence, Roger, you've created a rocket that's taking us to the moon and beyond. And so the problem is that people just don't understand this yet because they're just grasping this new concept. So, if they're worried about that, again, they can go to the AI certification course and boom, they can learn these fundamentals. That's the main aspect. And if you do these steps, it'll keep on benefiting, your business.
Well, let's take that the second piece here, right? Like you can have all the tools, but then if you're still trying to put the engine in the horse, it ain't going to work, right? So everything you talk about there, which is, look, like don't be thinking about the actual tools. Think about the marketplace where you're always going to be having the latest tools, right? Like and of course, this is what Amazon did with consumers consuming, as opposed to what we're doing with entrepreneurs creating, which is create a marketplace to say, hey, I don't know what book you're going to be reading in 5 years from now, but I can guarantee you're going to find the very best in the world on our platform because everyone's going to be voting that book to be number one. And then you can go buy it and you're going to know it's going to be number one, right? And we're also going to be telling you which books you should read based on your reading habits. Exactly the same thing, having not just the AI tools marketplace, which is what we obviously are launching right now, but also the AI talent marketplace, because you need talent to run the tools, and also AI training marketplace, which means you can actually be teaching your team and everyone to be the talent and to use those tools. So those three things, right? Once you've got all three, it's like, well, then I'm never going to be thinking I don't know what I don't know, because it's all here in terms of what I could be using, plus the stories. And this is where I want to share something about how do you build a rocket ship as opposed to a horse, right? How do you make sure you can manage 100 HP, you can manage 1,000 HP off the back of it? And the messaging that Ravi's talking about, he's been working with us and the whole team globally on the whole key aspect here, which many of you have heard me here, talk about Buckminster Fuller and the final exam many, many, many times, about what happens when AI takes over all productivity. Like, will technology destroy us or vice versa, right? And as influencers that actually have a say in this, where do we sit on this as well? I want to just share briefly the video that I was showing earlier of Mo Godat, and I'm going to put the volume on so you can get this as well. And listen carefully to the very end of what he says here about what AI is going to be doing in a very, very short future. And then let's think about what that really means to everything we're talking about here.
About to stop innovating humanity. This is it. This is the end of human innovation. Why? Because the innovator is always the smartest person in the room. Smartest person in the room is about to be a machine. Right. So they know how to write code. They know how to run machinery. They know how to, right? Very soon, they'll have enough access to be the one that innovates, right? And that the image of that world is something that I don't know, and I don't know anyone that can predict, right? But you have to imagine that within 5 to 10 years' time, 99% of human innovation may not need a human. Okay, by next year, 2024 or 2025, my expectation is that there will be an AI agent, okay, that you go to and say, hey, I have £1,000. I want you to invest it and get me 1,400 at the end of the year.
Okay, just think about that, right? At the moment, most people listening to this are probably thinking, right, oh, use AI to give me a better website, to do an ad. It's a whole different thing to say, oh, I can say to my AI, hey, look, here's my skills, here's my talents. Go out and make me $1 million using all of that, right? And it will set up the website, it will set up the videos, it will set up like all the different tools, it will build your community, it will connect with them all, it will bring in other AIs, it will basically generate the money, it will put it in your bank account. This is going to happen, and it's going to happen within our lifetime. Not for everyone, but for those who understand and are at the forefront of this, right? And I'm looking forward to the kind of mentoring calls that I'll be having, where I'm not basically saying to humans who are often the last to take their own advice, hey, if you do these 5 things, don't you think that'll be says, yes, it will. And 1 month later, oh, I got busy, so I didn't do those 5 things. It's like, no, your AI is here as well. Hey, AI, did you get it? Yeah, all right. Come back and report to both of us in a month from now. And why this is so important is when we say that superhuman intelligence, right, where we're moving towards is a combination of not human intelligence, because AI is always going to beat us at that, but it's about the human spirit, or more importantly, human talents, like what makes us human versus AI skills, right? And when you add the 2 of them together, human talent, AI skills, you get this concept of genius that we talk about. What's really interesting about this is at the moment, we're referring to AI skills being the AI skills that humans have. In the future, we're going to be referring to AI skills being the AI skills that AI has, right? Which is exactly what's happening here. Do you have an AI that knows how to double your money every week? And if so, you don't need to work, right? And that's where the biggest issue here is, because if basically AI takes over productivity, and if your paid productivity with your job is how you get your meaning in life, you can imagine there's going to be, as Elon Musk says, civil war will be inevitable, right? It's like people will say there's no meaning, and therefore I want what that person has. Where Buckminster Fuller already was talking about a different type of work, which is not your day's work, but your life's work, which is the whole basis of genius, which is your car you're designing is not the same as a horse. It doesn't need to be fed every day, right? It doesn't need to basically every day be a constant 9 to 5, right? It doesn't need that, right? You don't need to go to a job in the same way. And many people have understood this already as entrepreneurs, but to understand where things are going, that you're not going to have to do anything for productivity, well, then that's where the life's work come in, which is, well, then what am I doing which is meaningful? What am I doing that's either a contribution to my community or which is contribution to my own growth? And those 2 things become even more important as your work and your contribution as a human than basically what you're doing to be a machine, right? And when people get that and start going towards that, and your team is doing that, that's a whole different story. And so when we talk about genius cities, we're talking about communities where the entire city is geared up for a world in which AI is actually getting the work done, but is more than happy to coexist with us because we're the ones creating the art, we're the ones creating the self-expression, we're the ones that basically bring humanity and spirit in a way that AI is going to find us more valuable than not, right? And what's really important about this and this whole link is that when we basically were running in Abu Dhabi, where we launched a Genius City recently, and Salim Ismail came out and talked about, hey, look, disposable knowledge is the AI itself. The sustainable knowledge is how do you design yourself, which is what we do with Talent Dynamics. How do you design your business with an EXO so that it can be growing exponentially? How do you put at the center of it MTP, which is your massive transformational purpose, your why? And how do you make sure that as a result of that, you can then run in sprints that are integrating things every 3 months that then scale up 100x every 3 months? And that's just natural for you to do that using these 10 different items. And off the back of it, the actual interest of everyone to be a genius enterprise as well as a genius city, including these massive big companies here, right, that we have all these stories of where they already are basically, running sprints to implement exponential technologies. All of this basically was about us saying, yeah, if we actually were running awards, which we're going to be launching in this last part of the year with our AI challenge, having students linking with companies, linking with entrepreneurs that are building this up. And in the same way that Fortune built a brand for the industrial age by having the Fortune 500, or Forbes built a brand in the information age by having the rich list, Genius will build a brand in the impact age through basically these Genius Awards, which are going to be saying, hey, we're not here to be replaced as humanity, we're here to be enhanced as humanity. And we get humans not by being more productive, we actually get humans by being more expressive, right? By being able to do those elements out there. And so the reason this is so important is I'm really hoping that everyone else on here says that the influences that are going to be the ones everyone listens to, the human influences, that is, because everyone will go listen to the AI that's telling you how to be more efficient, right? But the human influences aren't going to be the ones telling humans how to be better robots, right? They're going to be the ones that are teaching humans how to be better humans. And so your message is really, really important. And our genius message, which is basically that we have a choice of either doing the kind of things that OpenAI is doing, where they basically are just going for the profit motive, even if it's of a damage to society. And it's very clear that there are companies like OpenAI doing that. And it's a reason that you see in the news today, Elon Musk basically suing OpenAI for saying, hey, you were meant to be, I was giving you money so that you could actually be helping humanity, and you're actually not doing anything to help by basically selling everything off to Microsoft. You've got companies on the one hand that it's very easy for us to get very skeptical about, And then you, on the other hand, you've got, companies like the ones that Elon Musk are running, which is like saying, hey, look, I'm willing to put all the money that I'm making back into, what's good for humanity as well. And there's going to be two camps. And Genius is 100% about the Genius movement. And there's going to be others that are in the other camp. And you get to choose as a consumer and creator which way you want to play this game. One final thing I want to share about this, because I know that for everyone who's been following along on here, you've come back because you hear about all of this. I'm right now, a bit patchy on internet because I'm here in Bali. And as Ravi said, he's going to come out and meet me here. We're going to be going here in Nuanu, which is right next door to us, which is basically a future city, a genius city, where the architecture, everything is designed in such a way that it's like saying, okay, let's just design the city where there are no cars, there are no gas stations, where everything's electric, where everything's robotic, where humans have got the ability from a young age to be learning what it is that actually they're going to be as a human, and then actually be that from day one, right? Be creative, be creating a community where 50% of all the profits goes to the community. So if someone doesn't want to work for money, but wants to basically entertain others, they'll have more than enough money to do that, right? And they don't need basic, universal basic income to do it, because they've got community income coming from the community, which is paying for everyone in that community. And there's going to be many genius cities like this that are going to be taking place in the future. And this is about the whole concept of genius. So I'd love on that note, because I want to finish on step 3, which is, as we mentioned, the genius certification we're about to launch. With you, Ravi, just kind of sharing, especially because you're in this vibe at the moment, right, in Taiwan, where clearly, people like, founder of Ethereum, the whole, group that are, behind Web3, they're very purpose driven, right? And it's very much about, how do we get away from centralized structures in such a way that we can trust each other by rethinking what humanity is all about, right? Would love for you to just share your thoughts around how bringing a different intelligence in to coexist with humans is not so much about how we understand that intelligence, is about how we understand ourselves.
Well, you made a lot of great comments there, Roger. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is that, Musk and Elon's ethics, that's what they are not being implemented, right? We're looking at the commercialization of some of this that will actually hurt society, right? Those that get access to the AI and those that don't, right? And when we think about it, we're sort of in this bubble. And they were talking about one of the things at this conference this morning that I'll share with our audience, cutting edge, right? That's what they're saying. They're saying in the next 20 years, what we develop as a human race will determine the next 400 years. So they were saying that this audience right here is the one propelling blockchain, AI. These were fundamentals, right, that are basically incorporated in what we're doing. So I think we're at a chasm, right, where we're crossing it. But there are those entities like governments and et cetera that are a little scared because they're not participating. So they're holding it, and they're putting reg tech in there to try to put the restraints on there. And there is a generational gap. I don't think it's intentional. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that there's a generational gap. And that generational gap is actually what's hurting us, right? And that's why what we're doing is so crucial, because we are educating and helping understand that they should not hear this. They should be embracing this. And that businesses and entrepreneurs and education and governments and cities should be welcoming us, because we are an ally to the acceleration of and if humans are free from some of these tasks of making money, doing all these intellectual activities.
I think.
Have we lost Ravi? Has Ravi gone?
Yeah, I think his internet is really dying on him today at this Taiwan conference. So obviously everybody's using bandwidth.
Okay. Well, hopefully we're going to get Ravi back, because he was in mid-flow at that point. But this actually directly links on to the third point, which actually is great you are on, Michelle. Maybe we can pin Michelle as well. And then when Ravi's back, we'll pin Ravi too, because we are at a very, very pivotal point in time where over the next 2 years, I personally believe, as many do, we're going to hit AGI. during this period, we're going through a 3-month by 3-month cycle, which basically is part of our pathway that we have, where we are running every 3 months our AI challenge, which is where everyone can come on and be part of a 3-month sprint and apply AI in a way that 100x's some part of your business in both income and impact. That we have our AI micro schools every 3 months. We have our AI certification, which gives us our new trainers that are training out in all of our different Genius cities. We're now up to 12 different Genius cities around the world, from London through to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, through to Singapore, launching our first ones in the US that are coming up now in places like Miami, Austin, Texas, Las Vegas. So very, very exciting with like the launches that are taking place. And one thing that's really important about the pathways that we're going through is that we are building out the team that can then basically deliver on the certification. And so we have a QR code, which you can come back to because it's all on video, to just get a call with us. The AI certification is going to be launching from the 19th of August, so it's coming up pretty soon, through to the 13th of September. And it's the very first time that we're linking together the Talent Dynamics certification together with the EXO certification. So you're actually getting 2 certifications to say, here is the sustainable knowledge. Here's how you design yourself and your team in such a way that you are better humans. What's your passions? What's your purpose? What's your talents? How do you make sure that with AI, you're actually doubling down on those? And then at the same time, as turning your day's work into your life's work, how do you make sure that you've actually got a business that can actually embrace AI? You put the engine in, you upgrade the engine, you put on a turbo, the car can do all of those things. Like a Tesla can actually be updated and upgraded via basically the internet, right? You can't do that with a horse. So how do you go from basically analog to something which actually now allows you to go 100 to 1,000 times the speed at digital? And this AI certification, it basically is going to be with a group of our trainers from all over the world that are going to join. You may be doing this because you yourself are a trainer. You might do it as an entrepreneur that wants to bring this into your own company, but basically have a call with us to see if this is a good fit for you. And then if you actually want to be earning money out of it, we have got a real need around the world from all of these companies that want to put in the right AI tools, have the right mindset, but at the same time want to have someone hold their hand on it, right? So basically have a trainer that can work alongside them. And every city that we have is going to have a team of these, not just people leading the city, but these people as part of the faculty that are going to be actually running on the certification side. So that's what our AI certification is all about. Michelle, I know I'm going to be handing it over to you in a moment. I can see Ravi's back as well. But what would you add to this in terms of people that might be interested in coming and joining the AI certification on the 19th of August? Because I know a lot of people are booking up already. Like maybe you can share a bit about what's the biggest motivation for those who are already making that decision to come and join us.
Absolutely. And I think, this is one of those moments in time where things are super, super exciting, where you've got this choice to make. Are you going to go with it or you're not going to go with it? And so I think the reason why it's such a powerful certification is because it takes talent. Like, what is your talent for yourself, the talent for your organization, the talent then within that pool? How does it fit into your organization? How are you running your organization, keeping everything moving together? And then how do you put an AI layer over that so that you're managing that process efficiently and going forward? And then as a coach, trainer, mentor, teaching that into your customers, your companies, that kind of thing. So I think that's what makes this massively exciting. And in a nutshell, that's why our clients are actually taking it up, because it's something that, yes, when we call it AI certification, to be an AI certified person, it's very difficult in today's day and age, right? Because you can't just be certified. The things are changing so quickly. However, we are taking certifications that we have, that you've got something, and putting it into something greater, which you can then apply and utilize and then drive revenue. And that's the big goal, right? Just to make sure that we're helping create an impact and drive revenue through our community.
And the very exciting part of this is obviously that as we are launching out our AI avatar on the front end of our Genius cities, that AI avatar will also be guiding people to the right certified trainers we have in our community, right? So those of you who actually want to be discoverable will find that our AI is recommending a whole stream of warm customers to you as part of basically our AI challenge we're running every 3 months as well as we go forward. So before we come over to you, Michelle, to share our Shine Awards, Ravi's managed to rejoin us. So, Ravi, you're hearing a bit about what we're saying on this certification, about where we're going with our quarterly, 3-month program. That's going to be not just this quarter, but we're going to go through 4 lifetimes next year as we go through the 4 seasons. Would love for you to share final words, maybe something, words of wisdom that you're going to be sharing as keynote speaker there for everyone here to be thinking about as they move forward on this journey together.
Yeah, no, I like I said again, Roger, so excited to be part of Genius Group now. I see the vision, right, that we're doing. It's huge, right? We're going to leave a global impact on the world, and I thank you for allowing me to participate on board for the several years to come. I think one of the things that everyone's going to take away from the AI is not just credentials, right? It's not about the credentials, it's the knowledge as well. And I think those to us who have participated in the past are going to completely benefit this. That's
Right. You're breaking up badly again.
Here at the conference.
I think.
All right, I apologize.
You're about to go. You're about to die. Maybe your last 3 words.
Nope. I'm not sure if the Taiwan internet's going to give that to him
today.
Get the
3 words. Okay, we tried. Okay.
It's okay. We'll get him to do a little quote or something.
Yeah. This is one of Peter Dimandis's favorite quotes. AI is easy, AV is hard, right? So on that note, Michelle, I'm going to hand it back over to you. And for everyone who wants to connect more with Ravi, obviously, he's going to be part of all the things that you're going to see coming. We've got a podcast that is now going to be going viral, and the things that we have, the people we're going to have come on board, and all the social media that Ravi's going to be going forward. We're treating it like a presidential campaign, right? But we're now doing it where it's about an entire genius movement all over the world that really everyone should be a part of as well. So with that, I am going to hand it over to you, Michelle. Thank you so much. And we'll be logging off.
Have a great day and enjoy the conference, Ravi. And Roger, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks, Ravi.
Guys,
yes.
That was a very interesting next steps. So I'm going to go and share the awards now, as usual. That's my favorite part. And let me share my screen. As you may have noticed, we have a new look and feel for our entire branding information. So welcome to the Genius Metaversity Shine Awards for August. I'm always honored to be able to present. And really, these Shine Awards are specifically designed to nominate our partners, our community, our customers, and people who are working with us so that we can share their stories and inspire other people to be amazing. And if you take a look here, we have monthly prizes. We also, with a fair amount of cash. We also have quarterly winners, which we announce at the end of that each quarter. And so today, the nominations, congratulations to everybody, by the way. You can see there's a beautiful Oscar now. Should be an AI. But anyway, these are the award nominees. We have Diane from Founding Learning Force Incorporated. We have Barker Herman from Founder with Voices. We have Chris Francis. He's just started a Genius City in Melbourne, so it's called Genius Biz. And Paul O'Mahony, which is the CEO of Rethink Academy. So the reason that we've nominated these guys, so Diane has joined the AI Influencer Micro School. She's actually been through all the micro schools this last year, and her contributions is really about she participates, she puts a new perspective, she's tied up the experience, she's really like changed the way she's thinking and changed the way she's done her business. So it's really about taking this and now putting it into her practice. And she's one of our level 2 partners, which is really great. And the reason we want to nominate her is because she always supports, uplifts, and engages with everybody. And she really wants to make a massive impact in the Canadian market. So those of you that are in that market, do connect with her. She's a phenomenal lady. Next is Barker. Now, Barker has actually been on a big mission to uplift women in tech, and she does a lot of event series of finding your voice and the importance of public speaking. And we caught up about 2 months ago, I think, and got her onto a little bit of a track to combine what she's doing and share it with the Genius community. And, she really helps her community find their voice, which is something that I think women are doing more and more and should be doing, right? So she's made an impact in the tech community by encouraging women to step up, to speak up, and to share their knowledge. And this is something that we stand very strongly for, is also a commitment to a cause that creates change and that can inspire others to do things that makes out their magic come amazing. Amazingly pops out their magic. That's actually what I meant to say. Luckily, you know that I'm not an AI. And Chris here. The reason we're nominating Chris is we've been working alongside him, and he launched Genius Biz. And then within the first we did a webinar, and I think within the first 2 weeks of launching that, he basically upsold a new client into his 12-week program, which is really amazing, because this is really what we're wanting to do in the cities, is we're wanting people to step up and change the talent pool and become technology focused and become inspirational. And so really his dedication to putting this together, he's been a client of ours for a very long time, but for the first time he's actually found his groove, and he's working on something that delivers impact and obviously creates a bit of revenue flow for him, which is really exciting. And last but not least, we've got Paul. The reason we nominated Paul is really, he spoke on a conference 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to say, Paul always prepares amazingly. He comes up, he boosts revenue, he wants to contribute to this community. We are going to be sending something out for all of our clients that you can join one of Paul's next events. So do that, because he really wants to uplift people with regards to mindset, mindfulness, planning, financials, create a future, create your wealth. And he really believes in the principles of wealth dynamics, talent dynamics. And for me, his presentation and the way he spoke on a conference a couple of weeks ago was really, like, his passion and his expertise really shone through. So these are the nominees, and today the winner is, boom, Chris Francis. So congratulations, Chris. We're super proud of you. And those of you that don't know where to find us, congratulations again. But this is our team is here on the call. You can drop a message, say hi if you need us, and everybody will reaching out. So thank you so much for everybody for attending today. I'm sorry we were a few minutes over, but we really appreciate you. We love having you in our community. Go out, make an impact, make a difference, do something great. And we wish you all the best for the rest of the month.